Stormblood 4.0. Alright, people do generally say that it's below Heavensward and below Shadowbringers. And in fairness, I would say that people are spot on with that. You see, Stormblood, in at least my experience so far, it is massively ambitious. And with that ambition does come some issues. Now that said, the big moments are still really big moments. The MSQ does have its high points, and when it has them, they are great. I mean, they really are great. What it is, though, is a bit held back by pacing, and then the immense challenge of splitting this story across Doma and Alamigo. Each one needing its cast of characters, and all of that while they have to take you through each of the new zones. And this does mean that while the story leads to great places and has great bits, the connective tissue can suffer a bit. There's maybe a bit more mixed pacing, and some characters feel a bit underdeveloped and oddly paced in their arcs. So yeah, there is a little bit to criticize, we will talk about that, but there is also so much to praise and so many elements that I love. And by the way, we unveiled our game, The Pale Beyond, properly yesterday with the reveal trailer and the announcement that we are being published by Fellow Traveler. Now, if you want to help us out, the best thing you could do would be to share our trailer and also to wishlist our game on Steam. The wishlists are super awesome, so if the game seems up your alley, if you want a single-player RPG, then I would really, really appreciate it. It's something we've been working towards for a long time. But of course, you are here for Stormblood, so let's talk Stormblood. Kugane, I mean, goddamn. What an incredible city. You can tell they're not held back by the PS3 anymore. And you know, visiting where our free company estate has been all this time was really a treat. But with Kugane, I mean, goddamn, the scale is immense. The colors are so vibrant, especially with G-Shade, and the music. I mean, I know I haven't talked about it enough. The music in this game is absolutely masterful, and I just loved Kugane. I loved every second in it, and now that I'm done 4.0, I really hope the patch MSQ has me spending more time in Kugane. It's one of my favorite places in the game. Beyond that, honestly, I pretty much love the other zones. I mean, Alamigo's areas felt really just well realized, and especially like the richness of Relgar's Reach. I mean, the clear inspirations from Petra in Jordan. I mean, just look at that place. It's real, and it's in Jordan. It's so cool. And I love that vibe. Even just like the scale of Alamigo City proper. Especially when you're up in the gardens at the end of MSQ. I mean, god damn, that is just pretty. But hey, I generally do like areas like that. I love Alamigo. I pretty much always would have, I think, just based on theme. And then we head to Doma. Again, oh, it's really strong. I'd say, okay, the Ruby Isles are just okay, but to me, the other zones were just perfect. I mean, the ambience, the music, the art direction, the scale. While questing in some of these zones may not always be a thrill, they were always lovely, lovely to be in. And, I mean, I know they're very fictionalized, but I remember reading is it Connor Gulden? It's like a fictionalized, I mean, I know his name's not pronounced Genghis properly, but, you know, his sort of rise fictionalized. And just going through the more sort of Mongolia-inspired zone almost took me back to reading those books as a kid. So for me, you know, the zones, the world of Stormblood, I absolutely loved. Now, that said, we should talk about the meat. MSQ. The first thing to talk about is definitely motivation. And you'll know I think this in the last video I did in my FF journey, but the end of Heavensward, right? Like, holy shit, you know? Papolino, Lys, everything. I mean, you just feel so damn well motivated. And what I love too, I mean, this expansion is really dealing with Ilberd in a way. Like, he's dead, but we're dealing with what he set into motion. And of course, Ilberd is a character whose betrayal was so perfectly orchestrated in A Realm Reborn. And I get more and more appreciation of A Realm Reborn as I go through the subsequent MSQ, because you can just see how much was really set up there. I mean, Yugiri as well, of course, set up in A Realm Reborn MSQ. But man, just that, like, motivation. You really feel pumped to get into these stories. You have been hearing about Alamigo for so damn long. You've been hearing about Doma for ages. The Garleans, like, it's all just perfect. And then Lys. Lise also is a pretty much perfectly motivated character with a really nice reveal of who she actually is. Now with Lise, there is certainly more stuff to talk about because I know that Lise is one of the more mixed characters out there. A lot of people would kind of prefer Ida to have just stayed. We'll get to that. But really, I mean, man, just that oh shit moment with Ilberd, that really does just set it all up. And that's why when you go into the initial Alamigo questing, you're just like, holy shit, Ilberd's just done this. Omega and the big primal have went off. That's spooky. And now Roban is coming to reclaim his homeland at the head of the Alliance, and we're going to do a big war. And you are so pumped. And then it's a bit of a drag for a bit. Now, Relger's Reach, where it gets to in that first arc in Alamigo, where Relger's Reach falls to the Garleans, I mean, that's set piece perfection. Like, again, it's almost like with 2.5. You know, you expect to be thwarted, you expect to be messed up a bit, but you get absolutely whacked. And in a way that it feels, it's not what you expect, but it's not unexpectable. You know? That sounds a weird way of putting it. I suppose it just does feel real, and it makes the Garleans feel actually bloody dangerous. And then, of course, Xenos, your first introduction to him, fighting him. You know, and just I think the Empire cast is, okay, initially seeming one note, but really quite fun. You know, from our leader of the Skulls to Xenos and Yatsuru, everyone, they're just... They're not the most deep at the start, but they are fun characters to have around, I suppose. But anyway, so you get through a bit of a slog with Alamigo, you've got your incredible big set piece where you really get whacked, and then you go to Kugane. And Kugane is just absolutely goddamn gorgeous, as I have said. It's just great. And that's where the pacing is a bit more strong. And as you go into Doma, I think you get lots of cool world building on Garlean oppression. But the pacing does end up being a bit of a drag, I will say. And sometimes you do retread themes. I mean, in both cases, you have a situation where the populace really doesn't want to rise up because those are the Garleans. They're really dangerous. And I like that more grounded approach to a sort of a rebellion storyline. You know? I think that's a really good thing to do because... You know, we look back at rebellions and things like that with a very different lens to how they were experienced at the time. I mean, as an example, like one thing, take the Easter Rising in Ireland, where we're from. That's something that is, very, very much remembered for what it was today. And one of the things when you go through your history classes, you learn that, in Dublin, there was lots of people who were for it, but there was also lots of people who really weren't for that sort of thing going on and probably, don't want the disruption and the danger and all of that. And I just like how the stories of rebellion were handled here in Stormblood in a way that felt authentic to the realities of actually being a person living in that kind of oppressed society. So I thought that was a really, really strong point of world building that I liked a lot. They sort of had to repeat that beat in both areas, which did make that a strong beat, but I think could have had some pacing issues. And on pacing, sometimes primals can feel like a diversion. A little bit. Now, they're always fun fights, and they're always worth having. But at least with the first one in Stormblood, did feel like a little bit of a diversion when really my character was just like, we gotta go to the Liberation Front. We've gotta go and liberate Doma. Let's go. Okay, we gotta do the thing with the primal first. But I mean, that's no biggie, and it was a fun fight. But generally, that sameness... Quite a lot of going around doing similar things in different places. That is a little bit more of a weak point, and it is one that does continue as you get into Doma proper and you're helping the Resistance front. But then, that said, they do have some better bits, like even the little blow dart mini-game with Yugiri into the base infiltration, then leading to the showdown with Xenos. Because the showdown with Xenos was excellent! I mean... He's a little bit one-dimensional right now, but he's quite fun. He's just one of those villains who he's on screen and he's fun. which I suppose, and he's a bit over the top in his ways, but of course you hear what the Emperor has to say about him towards the very end of MSQ, and you're like, okay, there could be more going on here, but he's a fun character to have around, he's a fun showdown to have, and they actually do successfully make you feel like a wimp compared to him, and I think that is a good thing. I mean, man, keeping the power of the Warrior of Light in check must be a really hard job from a narrative perspective. Anyway, from him, we go to basically Mongolia. And as I sort of covered earlier, it's that thing where I loved everything apart from the questing. I loved the music. Just the visuals, even though it's like not the most intricate zone ever, the big expanses, it felt like you're there on the steppe. You know, I really liked it. Questing was a bit of a drag, I will admit. But it does lead up to the final duty. And that final duty was fantastic. And it was really nice to see them put in just a few more gameplay elements in it as well. And then, of course, your man, the big funny man from the Garlean Empire comes in at the end and you sort of slap him down again. But that was a really awesome duty, and I really like how they use duties to highlight the endpoints. Also some nice quiet moments, you know, when you're there with the mole by the campfire and just learning a bit about the culture of the different tribes, and all of that just felt very cozy. So I really appreciated that, even though the pacing was a bit of a drag. I'd broadly say then that everything from Doma Castle onward was excellent. I just had a great time with. It's just that thing. The pieces come together, and toward the end, they come together just fantastically for Stormblood. But your issue is that in the first 2/3, while the high points are awesome, the pacing is a little bit more rocky. So that's my overall thought as we walk through it. As for points then, I just want to again say, I love how they wonderfully represented the plight of the common folk through all of this. I thought that was great. It's just this commitment to actually showing all of the different societies of this game in a way that's believable. You know, in the same way you look at Ul'dah, and there's quite a lot going on there, and it's interesting. You know, you look at Ishgard, you see a nation with its foundational mythos being challenged and what that actually means for the people who have suffered and bled and died for basically a lie. You see all of these things, and in a way that feels authentic. A way that's not just them, you know, Hollywood popcorning their way through these issues and not doing them justice. And I think that's just a strong thing that gives me a lot of faith in this team. You know, even if it means sacrificing a little smidge of pacing, they are willing to actually make their world feel like a real place. I think that's important. Moving on then, Alphinaud and Alisaie, and I'll admit I'm a little bit fucked up because they are humongously going wink, wink, nudge, nudge. What if one of them died in the trailer for Endwalker that just came out? Now, I imagine they're doing that so heavily in the trailer because they're also, you know, they're kind of baiting us, and they probably won't do that to those characters, because if they were going to kill those characters, I imagine they wouldn't have made the trailer, you know, hint at it so much. But I just really like these two characters. They're great. They're great. Alphinaud, he has to be protected. I mean, Alisaie definitely gets in more danger, but, you know, she's got a big sword. I just really like those characters. I don't know what to say. They're just very well concepted at the start, and they have just this really, really nice growth with each other and this nice relationship, and it's just that thing. The way that they ingratiate you to Alphinaud in Heavensward then means that Alisaie is such a strong character through that well-established relationship with Alphinaud. So whenever one of them thinks the other one is in danger, you really palpably, like, feel for them. The writing is great. Lyse, then. Lyse is like, okay. I think she either needed less time and more focus, or more time and more growth. Because there's basically this situation going on where you kind of get where she is, and then they retread the same ground of who she is as a character again and again and again through both the Doma and Ala Mhigo plotlines, and then she's got more rapid growth towards the end. And because of that, I can see why the community is a lot more down on Lyse. I would say that in concept, I really like the character and where she's going. I think in execution, she just got hurt by pacing. I think hurt by the pacing not doing the greatest job of highlighting her growth. That said, I don't know what's going to happen in the patches, so maybe I will be surprised. Overall then, this is what I've got to say. Brilliant moments, a great ending, but yes, marred with some filler-feeling quests, rough pacing, and a story that is not able to 100% commit to either the Doma or Alamigo plotlines because it just has to juggle between them. I thought it was very, very enjoyable on a conceptual and thematic level. It was often enjoyable on a character level, but I thought that it could struggle experientially outside of its high points because of the pacing. For the other things, I would say dungeons. I think the dungeons are great. I'm really enjoying just seeing more and more and more mechanics. And I think this is at a stage where the development team started to get just a lot more familiar with making great encounters. I've heard a lot of people say that it's really toward the end of Heavensward content that the team just really codified their like raid and dungeon sort of boss design principles, and I can certainly feel that. I thought they were really, really, really fun. I'm still playing the Ninja, by the way, and the Ninja I'm still finding to be super fun. Now, that said, you will have noticed in this video, my keybinds, I hastily slapped them together. Whoops, I know they are rubbish, and there is more that I could be doing, but fundamentally, the whole, just the whole opening, right, of, setting yourself up, using hide, then, your trick attack into your bleed, into your dream within a dream, and your assassinate, and then going through all of your ninjutsus and all of that. It's just quite fun. I really enjoy the pacing. That said, dream within a dream and assassinate being merged, what's also going on with the mudras and stuff in Endwalker, super exciting. I cannot wait. But first, I need to get my keybinds and everything set up again. So, yeah, I'm enjoying the gameplay. I'm enjoying the story, and from what I hear, there's a lot of establishment as we reach 4.0. But the 4.0 through 4.5 are basically incredible. So I am super excited. Super, super excited. Yeah, I'm super excited. There we go. There we go. I guess based on what people tell me, I've just completed, worst is a strong word, but I've just completed the worst bit after A Realm Reborn. And I've enjoyed this decently, like pretty much, yeah. I've massively enjoyed what came before it. And Shadowbringers is apparently the best JRPG of the last decade? Damn, what a treat. So there you go. Now, if you want to check out a single-player RPG, we're making one. Our game studio is making one. We revealed it very, very, very recently. Yes, our game, The Pale Beyond, is being published by Fellow Traveler. And you can check out its initial trailer, its reveal trailer, and it is going to be coming out in 2022. So check that out. Any support there would be awesome because goddamn, is it not? It's the dream. It's the dream. Video games from us. Wow. So I'd appreciate that a lot. Other than that, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.